So hi everybody, welcome to this session. This is Abhyuday Agarwal from LawSikho, and our goal today is to explore what are the popular career options, backup career options that you can have alongside your preparation for judiciary. Even how to select a good backup option, how to start preparing for a backup option, when to start preparing for a backup option without compromising on your judiciary prep. Okay, so first I'm going to ask you all on chat that tell me a little about how many of you have, when are you going to attempt the judiciary exam? Okay, have any of you attempted the judiciary exam before? Let me know on chat so that I have a sense. Okay. Okay, so Sakshi Garg will attempt next year. What about the others? Let me know quickly on chat. It'll really help. It'll help in making this conversation relevant to your work. So I'm going to put up my PowerPoint also. Okay, so I'll request you all to use either use the chat one. Okay, don't use the Q&A panel, then use the chat panel so that I can see all the questions there. Okay, so Srishti will attempt in 2025, Tamanna in 2022, Yugal also in 2022. Great. Okay, so let's look at this, and these are going to be your first attempts. Okay, Ashita and Rishabh will attempt next year. Okay, great. So I'll keep that in mind. You all can see my PPT on screen. So our goal is going to be that how can you select the most appropriate kind of backup option for yourself and also prepare for it without compromising on judiciary prep. So why are backups important and when should you be thinking about them? This is a competitive exam. 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh people sit for the exam, depending on the state in which it's happening. And there could be as few as 20 seats, 50 seats, if you're lucky, 100 seats for general category, right? So if the competition is so high, despite your best preparation, there is no guarantee that you're going to crack the exam, even if you give it twice or thrice. Right, we've been discussing that people attempt it twice, thrice, and what's the real cost of attempting it a subsequent time. But the question is this, that no matter how good your preparation is, you can't always be sure that you're going to crack it, whether it's your second attempt or third attempt. So you will have to think of some kind of backup or the other. There are two categories of backups. So we've had a session on this earlier on our channel, and I will share a link with you where we've discussed the important government job backup options. Today, we're going to go a step further from there and help you analyze which government job options are closer to judiciary and which ones are not so close. Okay, so this is the link to our earlier government job video. Astha, you can share the link on chat. Harsh, most states will allow previous year candidates to make an attempt. Okay, that is not the issue. Did you see anywhere being barred from reattempting? If there's a vacancy, if there's no vacancy release, then you can't attempt. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview first of some private sector jobs, because we have, this is the link where the government jobs are covered. I will review this again, but first I will give you an overview of private sector jobs. In your last year, Harsh, you can't appear, you have to graduate to appear, right? Unless you figure out a way to make it in somehow bypassing the rules. Okay, so if you're looking at private sector jobs or independent practice, litigation is the closest to your judiciary preparation because of the subjects that you've studied in. You've studied Civil Procedure Code, Indian Evidence Act, Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, Constitutional Law. So all of this is very, very closely related to litigation, right? So now, however, what you want to look at is that in which way is litigation related to judiciary and how is it different from judiciary, okay, as a private sector career option. Now, two ways you can explore litigation in. One is that you can start your own independent practice. It takes a lot for somebody to start independent practice as a fresher. A lot of young lawyers, what they do is they start working with a senior. Now, the thing is that what kind of senior you get and what kind of salary you draw, and whether you are able to get independent clients or do independent work on the side, that is a function of the skill sets that you have acquired. Okay, so if you are able to, let's say if you are unskilled and you have absolutely no idea about, like, you don't have an idea about the practical work, seniors may pay. There are states where seniors don't pay. Sometimes seniors pay anywhere between 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 per month. But if you're a really good junior, you can start off with 30,000 per month, and your income can increase also. And if you are earning 30,000 per month and having the ability to serve your own clients, if you get even one client per month additional or two clients per month additional, charging them 10,000 rupees for one matter, you can earn 40,000 to 50,000 per month. Okay, so this is if you are pursuing practice. But this opportunity is not sitting here like it's not waiting for you. It's not a guarantee that you'll get it. You'll have to create it, because as I said, the default salary paid by seniors is much lesser unless they can see that you are contributing to them. And how do they measure whether you can contribute to them? The simplest way to measure, now this is something that is very important for you as a young lawyer. The simplest way to measure is this. Okay, if I can reduce the time spent by my senior every day at work by 2 or 3 hours, just 2 or 3 hours, okay, if I can reduce their time by that much also, I can earn as much as 40,000 to 50,000. I'll show you a detailed working later. But and I'll give you a basic explanation also. If any senior is working for, let's say, 200 hours a month, and at an average earning say 2,000 rupees for 100 of those hours. Okay, I'm saying that because I've been teaching how to grow your independent practice. I know that if you're working 200 hours, you're not going to be billing for all those 200 hours. Half your time is going to go for business development and cultivating clients, meetings, all of that. It's not all going to be billable. So billable work will be, let's say, for 100 hours, 120 hours. If you're charging 2,000 rupees also at an average, which is what a good senior would be easily able to do, they would earn 2 lakhs a month. Okay. Now, what your goal is, reduce his time by 30%. If you do that, your senior is going to be able to generate a good 1 lakh extra. Okay, they will be generating 1.2 lakhs or something extra, which is where they will be able to pay. If you're able to help them generate that much additional amount, they would be able to pay easily 30 to 40,000 rupees for you. Okay, but what happens when a junior is untrained is that if I take 200 hours to do my work, or if I take 100 hours to do some work, I will end up taking 140 hours or 150 hours, because I have to first extract the work out, delegate it to my junior, explain the work to him. Then the junior will give me the work. Then I have to correct it. Okay, and in correction and fixing it, sometimes it takes more time than doing it yourself. Then I have to explain the junior and train the junior on how to do the work. So if I'm going to do all of that, then I won't be saving time. I'll be losing time, which is the reason seniors find it difficult to pay. So I wanted to explain this part so that you know how you can make litigation a viable career option for yourself. That is clear to you. The skills part we'll go to later. The other thing you can do is that you can also explore working in a dispute resolution practice of a law firm. It requires similar skills. Um, so in a law firm, you will be able to have a good starting salary, again anywhere between 30,000 to 1,20,000, 1,30,000 also. Okay, depending on what your practical skills are, how your internships have been. But remember that law firms litigation practice may have some unique components. Like, if a lot of law firms most of the focus is on commercial litigation. So in a law firm's litigation practice or dispute resolution practice, you will have a lot of focus on NCLT related work. Of course, civil litigation and some aspects of criminal litigation will be important. The part on white collar crimes is very important in law firms. That's connected to criminal litigation that you study for judiciary. Then arbitration is very important. Okay. Uh, and then trademark infringement work is very important. 1 second, my screen suddenly stopped sharing for some reason. Yeah. Arbitration is very important. Trademark infringement work is very important. So there's a slight difference in the kind of work you will do there. So how do you learn that? I'll come to that separately when we have a whole conversation on practical skills. The other way, the other backup you can think of is working in a law firm or in a company as an in-house counsel. For freshers, if you compare the options, one thing to know here is that a lot of judiciary candidates, aspirants I speak to, they very comfortably from second, third year itself, they say that I'm going to give the judiciary. If something doesn't work, then I will try to create a backup option for myself. But a backup option C is not waiting for you. You have to keep that in mind. There are people who are clear from their second year, third year who want to work in corporate law firm jobs, yet and they don't take all the right actions in time, which is why even those people struggle to get the right corporate jobs. Some people have very good internships to show on their CV, but that is not backed by enough skills and enough work, enough track record that they've done. So even despite being from good colleges, having great internships, they are unable to secure jobs when they graduate. So if you want to work in a law firm or in a company, you will need to from ahead plan this, because the kind of skills you will require will be different. So I'd say that there's way more overlap in a litigation career than in a law firm or than working in a law firm or in a company. However, these skills are very much acquirable. Okay, so it's a different direction, but if you follow a structured learning path, you can acquire such skills in 1 to 2 years, spending 1.5 hour 1 hour a day at an average at your own convenience. Okay, that's how we help our students, so they can spend 1 to 1.5 hours and they've cracked the best job opportunities in any law firm with that, or in any company also. There are many students who've got fresher opportunities as in-house counsels. Okay, but this is different from the judiciary prep. It doesn't directly add on to the judiciary prep. The other option is that, for some of you, you want to think of this, that if I don't crack in my first attempt, I will need to give another attempt, but I may need a source of income on the side. So how am I going to do that? One of the ways to do that is to learn how to do some work independently. This may not be full-time, this may not be litigation. This may be work like advising startups with various kinds of contracts, trademark related prosecution or registration work. um, there is there are things like helping startups with co-founders agreements, investment agreements. If you look on YouTube also, you will find there are sessions I have conducted on 20 legal skills to advise startups. Now, this is one of the easiest categories of work to get, and how it helps is that you can earn a survival cost relatively easily. Let's say you may be able to work about 10 to 20 hours a month out of 200 hours that you have. So I have 8 hours available in every day to work into 25 days is 200 hours. Out of that, if you're good and if you've learned some practical skills and you work for even 20 hours in a month, you can earn as you can draft like 2 contracts for a client and charge 10,000 rupees a contract, and that will also enable you to earn 20,000 rupees, which is a good supplementary income. Allows you also to meet some basic survival costs, not all your costs. If you need to earn a little more, you will have to spend more time, but at the same time you're not subject to 8 hour 9 hour office, not a full-time job. And because if a lot of you have been asking me that if I'm doing a full-time job, how can I study? So the best way, if you're doing a if you want to study and you want to earn, would probably be to freelance, because you have control over your time. You can reduce the kind of time you spend on your job and focus. But you'll have to learn what kind of you'll have to learn how to serve a particular kind of client, how to generate those clients, and how to do the work. Okay, then now let us just look at what is the difference between judiciary preparation and the earlier private sector careers that I identified above, because now we have to gradually move to figure out what is the appropriate backup option for us, right? So lack of state power. So for a lot of you who enjoy the idea of being a government servant, having public office, having statutory authority, that power may not be there on its own, is not there, right? In a private sector job, you have to create your own name, your own reputation, your own network, but it's definitely not flowing from a statute, or you don't have that kind of authority that a public servant has. However, people who are very successful, if you look at any managing partner of a law firm or a senior advocate, okay, you will know that they have a lot of powerful connections, networks, which can be used equally well for by them to to fruitfully to attain their own business objectives also, right? So there are ways in which people perceive authority, but yeah, the blessing of the state like that does not exist, so you will need to know that in mind. Second, so this I've explained, you will have to build your reputation on your own, or through your own, I mean, through your own efforts independently, through your own track record, through your own businesses that you start by offering value to others. It's organically and incrementally built. And one wrong thing you do, of course, your reputation can go away. Working hours can be much longer and unpredictable. However, today, if you talk to judges, they also say that their working hours are very, very high. Whatever the official working hours may be, the kind of work they have, the volume of work, the pendency of cases that is there, they tell me, young judges tell me that, my friends, my juniors from law school who have cracked the judiciary exam, they say that, if I take a 3 days of break also, I'm like, this is what I'm doing too. This is how much I'm dealing justice by. Okay. Even though if they are entitled to take that break. So working hours would be long in a public sector job also. But yes, in a private sector job, they can be very long, unpredictable. Sometimes you'll be called in to work on a Sunday. You may work 3 weekends straight away, 4 weekends straight. So that is definitely there. You may have 16-hour work days when a deal is on. So this is something to think of and to prepare for. Salary, now depending on this job you get, can be way higher. Like you can get 1.2, 1.3 lakhs a month if you're in a top law firm. Versus if you start off at a small firm, your salary could be 30,000, 40,000, or even 50,000. But if you look at the salaries of public servants, starting salaries of public servants are now much higher. If you include all the perks and all, it's going to be better than that. So government jobs also have higher perks. You may have way more, you may have accommodation, you may have sometimes a driver, a lot of other perks are there. But this thing is important to keep in mind. In a government job, your growth is planned, right? Because you will have a 20, 25-year, 30-year career path, and everything will happen at a fixed interval. So you wouldn't expect things to be happening outside the ordinary usually. But in a private sector job, your career path may grow very, very fast also. It may grow unpredictably. There might be big jumps. So whereas usually it takes 10 years to become a partner, you may realize that you've done that in 7 years. And also the starting salary and of an associate and a partner are very vastly different. Like there can be a difference of as much as 10 times, 20 times between a partner and a fresher associate. Okay. So your growth can be very disproportionate, exponential in the private sector. If you build the right networks, if you seize the right opportunities. Okay. So that is one benefit of the private sector in comparison to public sector jobs. Now, what is the challenge that we face as judiciary aspirants while creating backup options? And we'll go back again to review how to start off creating backups powerfully. So first is that we assume that if we don't crack the judiciary exam, we will look for some private sector jobs. But to create that option for yourself, you'll have to spend 1 year. That is the 1 year with structured learning. Without structured learning, people in second year, third year also are not able to create a job, are not able to secure a job by the end of fifth year because of lack of direction. Now, the thing is that if you assume that private sector jobs are waiting for you, it's as good as just waiting 1 more year out, dropping out, and giving the judiciary exam again. Like you will have to again do that same kind of work, but in a different direction. Okay. So many candidates don't factor in this, that if I do not crack this and I pursue a backup, I have to give one additional year unless I have filled up for it during my preparation stage for judiciary. Okay, so you can't assume that the job is waiting for you, but you can learn the skill alongside judiciary preparation, and we'll also discuss how that is possible. Then if you're looking at government jobs, then you will see that the most amount of coachings, trainings, all of that is is for judiciary exam, and for the others, a lot of times you will not find as much guidance, as much free resources online. Okay, now you cannot assume that other competitive exams have a similar syllabus. I'll show you the government exams, and you will see that yes, you can sit for these, but it's like saying that I give competitive exams and I want to give more and more competitive exams, but the syllabus is very different. Okay, even in like SEBI grade A exam, which was, released this year, there was a notification out for them. So syllabus was hugely overlapping with judiciary, but the focus on the judiciary subjects was much lower, and the focus on the corporate law subjects was much higher. Okay, so automatically you can't repurpose for another exam. If you look at NABARD exam, for example, there is a different component altogether. So every regulator, for its own entrance, customizes the syllabus based on the kind of work or the skills they would need. So they will introduce new subjects. So we cannot assume that other competitive exams will have a similar syllabus. So we'll have to work hard to familiarize ourselves and learn the syllabus of the other exams. One of the ways to deal with this would be to choose an exam which is very closely modeled around the judiciary syllabus, right? So we're going to discuss that also. Then this is one very important reason people question their career choices from the early stage of judiciary preparation, whether they're in third year, fourth year, and then they say that I'm just exploring right now, let me explore like everybody else, and I'll commit later. Now this can throw you off from your judiciary preparation also, and it can throw you off your backup also. So this is so definitely not a good strategy. Do not question your career choices, and you can remember that you can change your career choices later on. People have migrated from one option to another. Like you can look at the example of Bharat Chugh. He was a judge earlier, then went to a law firm, was a partner at Luthra, and then he quit his job to become an independent practitioner. Okay, so we've got a webinar of him on our channel. So the thing is that you can change your career choices, but what doesn't work is saying I'm in exploration mode and not committing, because you will never have a final career choice for life. We are not people anymore in this, post, like our generation post 90s, we've not been thinking of the idea that we're going to start our career in one job and retire in the same job. That used to be what our parents used to think, but now times are changing. So you can change, and there are many ways in which after you pursue a job you can quit and start something else. So don't worry about that, but don't use it as a reason to not commit. Then one more thing people do is they start late with judiciary prep, and then they will not have enough time to give to a backup, because judiciary prep itself will take you 14 hours a day of work. So to have a backup, you will need to have at least 1 hour a day aside, if you're even using the benefit of structured learning, some guidance, additional courses. So you'll need some time to study those, right? Okay, then not choosing the backup is another one. One is, so which is the backup you'll prepare for? You can say I have 20 backups, but if you have 20 backups or 5 backups, it is going to be very, very difficult for you later on to actually be in the best position to at least secure one backup permanently, right? So you want to prepare, because I showed you every backup option has a different way to prepare. Even 30% difference is a very big difference, and in many cases it's more than 30%. So you can't choose 4 5 different backups. You have to choose specific backups which you are clear that I will use this if it doesn't work, if my judiciary doesn't work. For now, the other thing is that following, so if you're creating your private sector or litigation or corporate job backups, then one other thing that doesn't work, and I know this because for 8 9 years I've been training people to get the best law firm and in-house counsel jobs uh, in the country. Okay, so what happens is that our colleges prescribe this internship pathway, that first year NGO internship, second year trial court, third year appellate court or Supreme Court, fourth year corporate law firm, fifth year job, right? That's the idea of the college internship. But what happens in the third or fourth year when you first set out to do your corporate internship is that everybody else is also doing the same, Vacations of all the colleges are coinciding a lot of the times, and recruiters are looking for this. Has this person got any corporate law understanding or knowledge earlier? And nowadays, because of the competition, having written one article or two articles, having gone to a moot in corporate law also is not sufficient. A lot more is needed. Okay, so this, following the recommended internship path by college and expecting that you will get a job, or you will be able to create a viable backup, is not the right assumption to make. For sure, you will get a good exposure and overview of what different career options, what the main career options are like. Not even all the career options, but what some of the career options are like working in an NGO, or being a trial court litigator, being an appellate court litigator, or going in a law firm. Okay, but that's not enough to get you a job. So your internship pathways have to be, for a job, have to be decided and pursued in parallel. Okay, creating too many backups is a big problem. Not narrowing down on one is means that you're not going to be able to focus properly. Now let us look at how to narrow down upon a suitable backup option. So you want to identify, what do you value most? Is it the security of a job, which means that you, and the money hitting the bank account in a predictable way without yours having to worry every month, where and how will I get the clients, how will I earn survival income? If that's the case, both private sector jobs and public sector jobs would work. Then think if you value having your own clients. If that is the case, then you might want to veer off towards starting your own independent practice. Now, independent practice doesn't necessarily mean litigation. It also includes doing independent consultancy work. There is a lot of freelance work today that one can do uh, in the area of consulting startups. Then there's freelance technology laws work, IP laws work. And if you've been following what 𝗳𝗏𝗰𝗄𝗃𝗃 has been doing, he's been sharing how you can get IP law opportunities from international platforms to work for US lawyers, okay, from platforms such as Upwork, Next, and all of these. So so that is also possible. Now, so what do you value? Do you value getting your autonomy or your own clients, or do you value going to court? In which case, you're very clear that litigation is what I'll do, and then I will explore independent practice. And in my independent practice, also, litigation is definitely going to be one of the components of it. Okay, so this will help you figure this out. Secondly, you will also want to identify, do I value a big brand name, a tag? In which case, you will look at private sector jobs, which are like of a good firm, so that you can be proud of the tag that you have. And you will also look at, obviously, government sector jobs. Then you will need to think of, are you interested in working in a big city? A lot of the private sector jobs are in bigger cities. So the most number of concentrated jobs is definitely in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, some in Calcutta. So a lot of the law jobs in firms are in these areas. So you want to look at that. If you're willing to litigate and do freelance work, then of course you can be in various state high courts. You may even want to choose working in a trial court. That's fine, right? Trial court lawyers do extremely well. A lot of trial court lawyers earn more than high court and Supreme Court lawyers, and very few people know about this. Okay, so decide if you're interested in working in a big city, or is it fine for you to not work in a metro city. My suggestion is that you must have at least one option which is not a competitive exam. Okay, because competitive exams are by definition difficult, right? There's way more competition than in your college or in your school. So it's more competition than 1 in 100. So it can never be predicted. The outcomes of a competitive exam cannot be predicted. So what is a non-competitive backup option? Something where if you do the work, you are more than likely to make a viable career for yourself. I consider a private sector job to be a non-competitive backup option. I know that many people dream about it, want to get one, want to work in a law firm, and they're not able to get the law firm jobs that they want. But that is not because it's like a competitive exam. That's because they've not built their CV accordingly. They've not done their work accordingly. They've not acquired skills. They have not done the necessary inquiry. So if you are creating a non-competitive backup option, remember that you will not have a syllabus. Competitive exams have a syllabus, they have past year's papers, but a private sector job will be uh, amorphous that way. The syllabus will not be clearly written. You'll not have the journey clearly mapped out. Somebody may need to guide you on how to do it. Okay, but it is very much doable. In fact, there are way more jobs, and at LawSikho, we get more internship opportunities than the people we are able to place, because we have to match the people's skill sets with the internship opportunities, with the job opportunities. Okay, so we know that there are definitely way more jobs than candidates who are willing or who are capable of doing the work. Okay, so if you learn how to do the work, getting a job is not going to be hard. So having one non-competitive backup option is helpful in that way. Also, because if today you couldn't crack an interview, 3 months down the line you can. You don't have to wait for a notification to crack an exam 1 year down the line. So you have, like, all the time you have the chance of getting your internship or your job. So that is why I'd say that have one non-competitive backup option. If you're struggling with identifying what is my area of interest, always keep going back to the values. What do I value? Income, security, state, brand name, city, going to court. Okay, what do I value? And also look at one more thing, that most of the times it's not the route, it's not the area of law that interests you so much as the kind of life that you can lead once you graduate. A life which allows you, let's say, freedom to travel around the world, or a life which allows you to go to a life which allows you to, let's say, live in a big city, or to work on high profile matters. So these are more generic, and choosing an area of law is only a way to do it. It's like saying this, that I want to live on a beach. Now there are so many beaches in the country and in the world. It doesn't matter where you go to a large extent, but the whole idea is that being near clear blue water. Or when you say I want to go to the hill station, you will find there are so many hill stations, but you can go somewhere, right? Like it doesn't matter which hill station you go to. Similarly here, when you can't decide or commit, it's important to identify what is the outcome that I want. Do I want 2 lakhs per month 3 years down the line, 2 years down the line? Do I want to buy my own house or take a loan for my own house, have a car? Do I want to work on X, Y, Z kind of causes? So you will be able to narrow down based on that. Okay, and then go into, okay, which is the route I should take. People get confused in the route and they don't have an idea of the destination. That is a big problem. Okay, also if you choose the wrong option, there is no problem, because I just explained, right, how Bharat switched. And there are countless other examples of people switching from law firms to independent practice. There are law firm partners who regularly go independent and start litigation. There are other law firm partners who start their own law firms. Okay, then there are other law firm partners who move in-house as general counsels. Okay, so all kinds of combinations happen. Some law firm partners move abroad to work in foreign firms, and there they start off as senior associates. That also happens. Okay, so it's just depends on what you want to do later, and don't trouble yourself with having to decide that now. Okay, but what you need to decide right now is that I need to have a job, I need to start off my career, and I need to have my own source of income. With respect to your competitive exam prep and judiciary prep, please cap the number of attempts you will make now. Otherwise, people get into an emotional loop. The emotional loop is like this, if you would have noticed, if somebody rejects you, one way is to get angry, but the other way, how do people deal with rejection? Let's say if it happens in a relationship, they try to pursue it again and again. More and more attempts are made to reconnect. Okay, so what happens in exam also, judiciary exam, if you fail once, you will give another attempt. Then you will get more obsessed. If you fail again, then you will give one more attempt. Because you in a way you get into an obsession, and you want to you're invested in that, so you want to now win at the end. So this planning cannot be done later, because after you feel invested, you will keep going for it again and again. But what you want to do is plan ahead of time, that how many attempts will I make? Will I make 1 attempt, 2 attempts? Till when am I willing to go? And also identify at that point in time that at this stage, I will start my backup. Start meaning I'll not start to study for my backup. I will go for my backup. Okay, so I will give 2 attempts and that doesn't work. I'm going to be in a private sector job. So for that, I'm going to start studying right now. This 1 hour a day I will give for a year. I'll create a track record, have people willing to hire me. I'll do my internships accordingly alongside my judiciary prep. And that is very much possible. Now, when you are pursuing a backup, what are the advantages that a judiciary candidate has? Is it fine if I take all the questions towards the end? I'll address all the questions to the extent that I know. Okay. Yeah, Ashi, I will discuss the LLM backup option also. Okay. What are the advantages of a judiciary candidate over young lawyers? I wanted to discuss this specifically because you studied very hard, right? Imagine a situation where if you're not able to crack the exam and you're compelled to explore a backup, then what is it that is going to be in your advantage over other people? So that is very important to know your strengths and disadvantages. Your strength is that you have the ability to sit for long work hours. You can work hard. You might be really good at following direction and instructions. If somebody tells you do this, you will be able to do that. You can sit for 10, 12 hours and study. Everybody cannot, because you would have gone through that discipline. Even if you didn't crack it, okay, that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to sit for long work hours. As long as you had studied consistently and over a long period of time, invested in the time every day, that means that you would have developed this ability to a greater extent than usually people can do. Then you'd also have had the ability to nurture a long-term dream. And this is often a big challenge, because when I coach students, I notice that they try to do something, they don't get it, and they give up immediately. Okay, and then it takes some time. It takes 20-30 minutes of conversation to get them inspired back to their original goals, and then have them continue to fight it out. So that, and I have seen that in 1 month people experience success. If they follow what we say to do, they will start to experience confidence. They will learn how to do the work. It will start improving. Okay, but the first 1 month that anybody takes our course, they're usually struggling, because there's an uphill task. Colleges don't teach what is required in the industry, and we are trying to make you directly face that kind of standard. But for you guys as a judiciary candidate, you would know that anything that happens in the long term, because the minimum you'd have prepared would be for a year, and some of you would have prepared for longer. So you would have you'd have a better sense of how to hold a long-term dream intact. Then so better knowledge of Bare Acts than the others who've not attempted the exam itself. How does it help? By itself, it's not enough. It's not practical skills, right? But it leads to a greater grasping power for you for the practical skills. So if we are teaching you how to make a Section 482 petition for quashing of an FIR more persuasive, you would have known the section. Or if I'm teaching you something on anticipatory bail, you'd know the section and you can fully focus on the drafting and improvise that. Okay, so knowledge of the Bare Act helps in grasping things fast when you're given practical skills or when you are given practical tasks to do. Okay, so these are a few advantages you have. Now, the next question is how to nurture your backup option. What do you need to learn? When do you need to start? One of the things to know is that you must start as early as possible with your judiciary preparation and fully commit. Otherwise, you will be like on the fence. And give yourself maximum time for both the judiciary and your backup option. For public sector jobs, you must choose a backup which is close to your judiciary preparation. I'm going to just show some public sector backup options in a bit. For the private sector, you will need to learn practical skills which are relevant to the area. What are these practical skills that I'm talking about? Okay, this is very important. This is not there in the judiciary prep in the way it is done for clients. Because see, as a judge, your role is not to serve a client. As a judge, your role is to administer justice, right? To deliver justice. So here you don't have a client like that, right? But in a private sector job, you have a client whose commercial interest you have to judge, you have to serve, and you may have to create a solution for the client, which is more like a service. When a judge is working, you are delivering, let's say you're listening, hearing the parties out, following the court process, writing orders, delivering justice. Okay, that's different You're analyzing the law to identify the correct provision. So there is no specific service or a solution being delivered, okay, to a particular client. Okay. You are serving, you can say, the country or the interest of justice. Now, in a private sector job, what are these commercials, these practical skills? One is I've written problem solving and structuring skills. There's something before that is called understanding the client's commercial intent. Okay, so if it is, let's say, an investor, a financial investor who invests in a company, what is his or her commercial interest going to be? Okay, then after that you will understand what are the kind of deals he or she is looking at. Okay, what kinds of issues they are not okay with, like when they are investing in a company, how do they go about the whole process? So there will be problem solving and structuring skills. If I am investing, if I'm a US based investor, I want to invest in India, should I invest directly from US? Should I come from uh, Singapore? Should I first invest in Singapore and then invest in India? And should I use that route? Which is the better one? Okay. How do I deal with tax issues? How do I ensure that my foreign management gets paid the amount, uh, gets paid the salaries and the profits? What are the best ways to do that? So this, if you want to do that, this is a commercial problem you're solving, and you will use a structure of a transaction. Like you will draw a diagram, you'll draw a flowchart and see from where to where the money goes, how things happen. So it's very different from analyzing a statute alone. You analyze the statute to the relevant part, but then you will actually see the problem materialize. It's like a little bit of a game of chess kind of thing. Then you will need to look at, okay, when I'm doing this, when I'm executing this structure, there will be a compliance angle. So now the compliance here would require you to look at statutes, a lot of circulars, notifications, a lot of delegated legislation that is being passed by various regulators. Sometimes they issue instruments called clarifications also, which may not be, binding in the sense of statutory law, but they are relied on by all commercial participants while undertaking transactions. So now popular regulators could be like MCA, RBI, various other ministries. If it's in the airline sector, then the DGCA will be important. So compliance is an angle. Okay, CS doesn't deal with all the compliance parts. They will deal more with the MCA part. But other compliance is also there. If you are in the telecom sector, there'll be lots of compliance with TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. If you're in insurance sector, there will be IRDA related compliance work also. They'll also say how your contracts have to be drafted, so you have to follow that as well. Like there's an interesting thing in IRDA in insurance contracts, which those of you studying contract law will find it interesting, that when you get an insurance policy, a lot of the times what the insurer will do is they'll take the premium, and after that they will send you the policy. But the IRDA gives you 30-day period to cancel the policy, in which case the policy gets cancelled and the premium is refunded. Okay, so that's a very unique way. Like after the contract has been agreed upon, the regulator says that 30 days are given so that the customer can understand the risks and cancel and back out if he needs to. Then there is drafting work. So as a judge, you're doing more of the judgment writing work, and you're looking at procedurally whether the submissions of the parties are in order, and then evaluating the substantive arguments. But in a private sector work, you're going to look at drafting various kinds of commercial contracts. And if you look at litigators or judges also, they would have not usually gone into the commercials of the deal unless it comes into picture in a matter and it is explained by the briefing firm or by the client. Okay, but as a commercial lawyer, you will need to know the economics of the transaction well. You don't have to learn economics as a subject. You have to learn who basically makes the money, how they make the money, who delivers the service, what are the interests of each party in question. Then you will also draft various kinds of notices. There are legal notices, there are takedown notices, cease and desist notices. Then there are notice of commencement of arbitration. There are notices under IBC. So there are some statutory notices. There are some non-statutory notices. Then there are various kinds of responses to letters or communications from statutory authorities, show cause notices to which you have to respond to. Let's say you got a notice from SEBI and it says that some practice performed, your client got a notice saying that, some practice that they performed was was a fraudulent trade practice. It led to stock prices fluctuating a lot. And SEBI said that, something you did, your client did, led to it. So you have to respond to that. Then there are various kinds of petitions and court-related drafts that you have to make. So you have to draft documents. This is a practical skill, not learnt conventionally in colleges, not in the legal drafting or writing subjects that you study in college doesn't teach this. Even 1% of what is required in practice is not taught in that. So this needs to be learned in detail. Communication and client handling skills are very important, which are of a different category, right? Like you will need to understand how to communicate regarding your services, how to actually get to the root of the matter with the client without boring him with technicals. Okay, and and how to demonstrate that you're a superior service provider. Or when you're working with a firm, even then you need to communicate to clients, because the firm has a particular reputation and a brand name, so you will have to communicate in a certain way so that you represent that. Networking is important as a young lawyer, because you want to be able to create, you want multiple internship opportunities. You don't just want to keep going around saying that second generation lawyers have an advantage, first generation lawyers are cursed and all of that. You don't want that, right? You don't want to go about complaining about that. So with some effort towards networking, even from your college years, you can literally nullify, and you can have a better network than somebody who's a second or third generation lawyer. You can have more access to opportunities, and you can actually create more than one job for yourself if you're good with this. And this is learnable. Okay, we teach our students how to do this, and we've seen success from them. So it's not something that you can't learn. How do you demonstrate practical skills now in your internships and all? You can how do you demonstrate to a recruiter? Okay, so you need to know the tasks that are performed. Every firm, every practice area is different, and the task performed, let's say in an IP firm by IP lawyers, will be different from the task performed in a banking and finance practice of a law firm. That'll be different from the TMT practice, technology, media, and telecom practice of a law firm. That'll be different from the private equity practice of a law firm. Okay, so knowledge of the tasks and how to perform them, track record, some kind of past work that I can do this work, I know all these terms, I understand these skills. That is important. Your articles, you must have written articles related to that area, not random areas. That is important. Random areas meaning if you've written on constitutional and criminal law and you want to get a corporate law job, won't work. So articles relevant to that area of practice. Pursuing internships consistently in at least one area is important. Okay, so if you want to work in an IP law firm, you should have at least 4 or 5 internships in different IP law firms. Okay, so that you can show and demonstrate that I have this, I'm ready for an IP law firm job, I know the work, and that I have done internships in the past in this area. 1 or 2 internships doesn't work. At least 4 or 5 internships is important, which means that, if you want your job offer to be clear to you by around 5th year, you should start this process by around 3rd year, by around 3rd year, which means you need to start acquiring some of the skills somewhere around 2nd year. If you're a little late, that's also fine, but you need to start basically. And this can be done alongside judiciary prep. If you're sitting for government exams, then choose government jobs whose syllabus closely matches that of judiciary. So let's just see which ones match. Okay. UGC net with or without CLAT LLM. UGC net matches significantly. Okay. We've written which are the starting salaries written. We've written which are the overlapping subjects. There are some unique subjects. Okay. So in all probability, you would have not studied those while you were studying for judiciary. So you will need to study those again, afresh. You would have studied those in your LLB course, but from the purpose of the exam, you will have to study them again. Okay. Degree of competition also I've mapped out, because you want to know that am I up for something as difficult, or is it going to be a little simpler for me? So competition is lower in comparison to judiciary. Assistant prosecution officer or assistant district attorney, public prosecution officer, these are the names that APO exams have. These are conducted by state public service commissions. These are definitely having a lot of overlaps. This is an exam you must definitely give. Okay, this is the favorite test pick, if I could use that word. This is the most important one, because you'll have IPC, CRPC, Evidence Act. You may have constitutional law in certain states. There will be the relevant states, some criminal procedure, specific criminal court rules could be there. it's focused on criminal procedure because you'll be a prosecution officer. Okay, so civil work is not there. Constitutional law will be there. The state's police act will be there. This is the easiest to repurpose. Okay, and salaries are decent, so it's not that you have to take a big hit or a pay cut. Positions with RBI, NABARD, SEBI grade A, people frequently opt for that, but remember that the subjects are quite different. RBI grade B officers has an indicative syllabus which overlaps significantly with judiciary. But if you look at the SEBI grade A officers exam, it overlaps with judiciary, but it also has a lot of focus on corporate law subjects, and the focus on the judiciary subjects in terms of weightage is lower. Okay. The NABARD exam similarly has a lot of focus on different aspects. So the thing is that there the additional preparation becomes very high. Okay, so which one you could use? You could use the RBI grade B in comparison much more easily. You can have the others if you're interested. SEBI, but you will have to prepare separately. SEBI grade A, you can prepare separately. There are trainings and all of that available. We also have a SEBI grade A course. Okay, so you can prepare separately for some of them. So to the extent of repurposing, you will need to do that. UPSC law option, but here salaries are good, everything is great, but here the competition is much higher. That is what you must remember. There are some unique subjects. All subjects don't overlap. Okay, some unique subjects are there and competition is higher. That is what you must remember. So you might want some lesser problematic. So you may want a backup in a government job which has a similar syllabus, but lesser competition and similar starting salary. Agreed? That is what would be important to ensure that I'm creating some kind of a real backup. My backup can't be harder than my original work job, original first preference. Okay, so some questions that I want to ask you based on all the participants who are here. What are your backup options and how are you going to decide on what your backup option is? And Arshi, LLM is a good backup option, but it's only for 1 year and it doesn't give you a career. So what is there after LLM is what you want to think. Is it going to be UGC net? Or if it's going to be the private sector job, then your backup is the private sector job. Whether you spent time doing only test prep in the year of your dropping out, or you did an LLM, that's usually not much of, not a very important question. Okay, because LLM does not increase private sector jobs unless you're going to go for teaching. For teaching, it's very, very helpful. Okay, so start writing what your backup options are. Yugal, you're in 4th year with CS executive, but not any good internship experience. You're thinking of pursuing judiciary. So Yugal, if you are thinking of pursuing judiciary, you will need to do 2 things. Start all out. Why do you want to pursue judiciary is very important. Okay, because why is that your primary option now? Okay, also you can very quickly learn corporate law and create that as your primary or backup option. If you create that as your backup option, then go all out into judiciary. Okay, Utkarsh, so what is the alternative to PSU or government jobs having syllabus similar to judiciary? I didn't understand this. I explained which jobs have a similar syllabus. So those would be one way. Another way would be private sector jobs. And strangely, I just realized that, private sector jobs don't require as many hours of work. That is a big difference. Rishabh, how to enroll in embassy in legal sector? I mean, do they have any legal position? So there are a lot of jobs, Rishabh, which you will get access to, which are not clearly out there. Enough number of positions are not there. So, if you want to create a career as a diplomat, there will be a separate career path, right? IFS people are there as diplomats, right? Civil servants who are in the IFS service. And I don't know much more about how to get a position in a country's embassy. Okay, but IFS is one of the ways. Then Ashita, what about National Human Rights Commission or State Human Rights Commission? So how are the members selected? You've seen, right? A lot of them are retired judges, right? But you want to work in those commissions, and you have to see the notifications that are out. These are not so frequently released. So these are one-off cases. Okay, but watch out for the notifications for them. Why are these not very popular career options? Because there aren't enough openings. Okay, that is the reason. In any way, Ashi, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, you can unmute. Is your name Ashita Agarwal or are you You're Ashi? Okay, allowed to talk. Ashi unmuted you. You can speak. Rishabh, yes, you can speak to our team. I can guide you on how to join the dispute resolution team of a good law firm. What you need to do is you need to acquire practical skills, create a track record, publications around dispute resolution, also do some mock petitions and mock drafting on situations so that you can show to somebody that you understand what the work is. Okay, now I'll ask Ashi to unmute and speak.
Hi. So currently I'm in fourth year. So
Yes.
talking about the backup options, I've raised the question regarding the LLM. So
Mhm.
what I'm thinking right now is like when I will take the drop, or maybe you can say after my graduation, when I'll prepare like thoroughly for my judiciary exam. So
Mhm.
at that time, I don't want to waste my year. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't want to work blindly कि नहीं हो ही जाएगा. So in
Mhm.
that sense, I was thinking that while doing my judiciary preparation, I will do the LLM in correspondence, so that my year will not be wasted if I will not be selected as a for the
But
UP.
how is it not wasted? If you use that 1 year, you get a degree, you basically get to say, हाँ मेरे पास LLM है, right?
Yes.
But in a lot
Right.
of jobs, they don't value that. Like in a private sector job, they'll not value that. I have not seen government jobs which say you must mandatorily have LLM. Okay, so it is only to say to other people that I have an LLM, I've done something. But in real terms, it's not got that much of a difference. I know that a lot of judiciary aspirants think that okay, if I'm not able to crack the exam in my first attempt, let me do an LLM. Where it will help is if you are nurturing CLAT, sorry, you're nurturing UGC net as a backup option. Then it will help because then you can give that exam and get into teaching as a UGC qualified assistant professor. Making sense, Ashi? It doesn't
Okay.
really
So for
matter.
the
You can.
job profile,
Hmm. Tell me.
yeah. Please continue. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, so for the job profile, it will not be very helpful, right?
For a job profile, unless you're going in teaching, it is not particularly relevant. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I look at the questions from Rishabh. I addressed your question. Kajal, is net exam easier than judiciary or is it as tough? How many hours we should dedicate for net along with judiciary prep? So, net exam is definitely not as difficult as judiciary. Also, if you look at the syllabus, apart from the subject, the scope of each subject is written down very clearly in the net exam syllabus. Okay. Second thing, the third thing is that if you look at total number of candidates giving net for all fields, it is around 55,000. That's the data that was available on their website, UGC's website. For law, how many vacancies were there? That wasn't clear. But they have about 30 or 50 specializations. So net has a common paper and a subject specific paper. So in the subject specific one, I'd say that law would have had lesser candidates sitting for it and competition may have been a little lesser. So I would say net would be slightly easier than the judiciary exam. Miss Boho Shukla, okay, where do you learn where should you, does it matter where you do your LLM from? No, it doesn't matter. From for which purpose you're saying? Okay, that I'm not sure. Whether it is NLU or non NLU, that would not matter, but it depends on the career. For UGC net, that will not matter, right? But let's say if you want to be a professor or you want to teach in Jindal, okay, Jindal Global Law School has a specific way only in which they recruit their faculty. A lot of their faculty have foreign LLMs, so that autonomy is there with them, right? So for that purpose, that may matter. Okay. Srishti, you're in your first year. Can JAG be a backup option? Is the competition lower? I don't have the figures, but in your first year, you can create a backup option as JAG because you've got that time to prepare as long as you can start and focus on it. Okay, make sure you don't keep postponing and don't keep saying that I'm still exploring, I'm still exploring. As long as you can start, that will work. Bo Shukla, which specialization is to be considered? Didn't follow the question. Which specialization in your LLM? Kajal, is it true that LLM in criminal line helps when you get selected in judiciary? Please clarify. If you've done more research in your LLM, it would have been an academic piece usually that you would prepare a thesis on. So you may be able to answer, if the questions in your interview are on that area, you may be able to answer those a little better. But remember that the nature of a PhD thesis is such that it goes hyper specialized. So it's not that you know everything about the whole area. You know a lot of detailed stuff about one small aspect of that area. And the perspective also you know it from is usually an academic perspective. So it will not help you in deciding cases better as a judge. If you think that you will know all the case laws, everything necessary to be an effective judge, that won't happen. Okay. You can see the thesis of people who pursue LLM. Okay. You will notice that it's very, very narrow. So their entire work is focused on that. Himanshi says that she's UGC net qualified, but this time the cutoff was very high. Correct. Yeah. So unemployment problem rising day by day, also because the economy contracted and the natural feeling when people lost jobs also post the lockdown. So natural tendency for people is to focus on more stable jobs, which is government jobs. So that is why competition increases. Yeah. Correct, Imanshi. You have Tanvi, you have completed 3 years DC law, 3 years law. Basically, is it the right time to pursue UGC net? Sure, you can take out time to pursue it, but the exam just got done, so you will have to see when's the next notification and accordingly do it. You can do pursue UGC net as an option right now. Are you in third year or 5 year or third 3 year course? In 5 year course, though, that's great. You're starting at the right time. If you're in a 3 year course and you're in third year, yeah, so you can give it next year. Shubham, I'm on the Q&A panel now. What if, so I had some more questions to ask from my presentation, but I'll take up these questions and then give you those questions. Shubham, what if your college is not so good? Okay, I'll come on my, yeah, what if your college is not so good and they're even not providing a single internship? Colleges are not responsible for providing you internships. You will need to do this. You will need to figure this out on your own. Of course, there are, like 𝗨𝗲𝗂 can help you. You can reach out to our team. Okay, and they will help you get internships. More than one internship is also possible. If you're doing your work in the courses, you can get access to more than one internship. Many of our students have got 3-4 internships through our assistants. Okay, if you focus on judiciary and not selected in that, then in this case, what should you do? So you will have to choose one backup, as I said, one non-competitive backup option, and start looking at that. But that will take 1.5 hours of work. Judiciary prep takes 12 hours of work. So just decide your time accordingly. Anonymous attendee, okay, we'll get you some topper strategy of Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Tamanna, you're in your 4th year and want to attempt UPSC. You don't want to go to court, but you're interested in giving legal advice and consulting. Please suggest some backup for me. So your backup, Tamanna, is being a freelance lawyer or going to a corporate law firm job. Okay. If you don't clear, you can look at a law firm job. But if you want to do something on the side while preparing for UPSC, you may be able to learn, like you can learn a few skills like contract drafting for startups. You can learn all of those skills. You can learn contract drafting and help out early stage businesses in meeting various business needs. Okay, that can help you build a separate career as a freelancer. Anonymous attendee. Yes, so you can choose clients and prepare for a judiciary. Your backup option is to do contract drafting work and you want to take the diploma. How is this as a backup option? Yeah, so if you want to give yourself, let's say 2 attempts, okay, and you say that if I don't clear in the first attempt, I want to have a part-time source of income, then better than doing a job, because that will take 8 hours of time. And there are several participants who come in these sessions with me who say that I'm doing a full-time job and this is a problem for me. So because how do I prepare for judiciary? So in that case, this is a good backup option. Also, if in the second attempt also for some reason, if you're not able to make it, you can leverage the same skill for getting law firm jobs also, in-house counsel jobs also, or continuing to build your independent freelance practice. So this is how you can use your contract drafting skills as a backup option. Anonymous attendee, hey, I just summarized. So UGC net plus, so UGC net is one, assistant prosecution officer in the state is another. These two are the most important government job related backup options. RBI grade B officers is also there, and otherwise private sector jobs. Okay, Sagar, got it. If you want, you can get in touch with our team. They can help you start if you've not already started. Are any of you are students already over here? Okay, I had a few more interesting questions to ask you. When will you start preparing for judiciary? In case any of you are our students, let us know in chat. When will you start preparing for judiciary? So this is a question for all of you. How and when will you cultivate your backups? Those of you who've asked me this question have already started thinking of it. So that's great. Okay. You automatically started thinking of this question. That was wonderful. Okay. Now tomorrow at 2 p.m., I'm going to do a webinar on challenges faced by judiciary aspirants while undertaking self-study. I'd really invite you guys to be there with me on that. And there's a link I'm copy pasting on our on the chat box. So tomorrow, day after, that is Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m., I'm doing a detailed webinar on what are the pitfalls to watch out for, how 99% aspirants sabotage their judiciary preparation, and how to do it right. Okay. We will get started with creating your first study plan. Okay. So do register on the link. It's a free workshop, 3 hours. We will have a lot of fun in this, and you will also find incredible value. Does the college CGPA matter if not judiciary, and if we choose backup options? College CGPA is a qualifying basic factor, but what is more important is your real skills. Okay, most people say that I have average CGPA, now I need to get into the top, and I don't have any time to do anything else. So they don't learn the practical skills required by clients, as a result of which they are unable to get jobs or perform well in internships or get internships or impress recruiters at interviews that how they are suited to do that work. That is a problem. And I'm also inviting you all to join those of you who are interested in more conversations, more materials to be shared. There's a chat group that we have, which is free. I've put the link there. You can click on that link and join our chat group. Okay. So, and I'm interested in knowing how you can implement this sessions learnings to your preparation and what you've done so far. If you've attended a previous session with me, is there anything that you have started implementing? Okay, Shubham, you've booked a seat in the judiciary course and you will start preparing from here. Okay, make sure you start studying. Okay, don't delay after the booking. You start studying. Okay, because you can have access till you graduate plus 2 years. So that is great for your 2 attempts. And you don't have to keep paying more and more, like most coaching classes charge for every year. So you won't have to do that. Sagar, sure. If you've joined, great. If you've not, you can reach out to our team. All right. So anybody wants to share what you can implement apart from those who've already shared the others? Okay. So I hope, okay, Sagar, great. You've prepared an 8-hour study plan. So should we keep it ready? Should we discuss it on Tuesday? We will share what a study plan can be, and we will also review a few others questions on how you've prepared your study plans. So, all right, everybody, have a great Sunday, and I hope you found this valuable. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow, okay, at 2 p.m. Thank you, and bye. And do not forget to register. It's a free session on Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. I've shared the link. It's a detailed workshop.